to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary. It has been a wild couple days in the portal. We were kind of waiting for the Rutgers news to drop before we recorded again. And today, in rapid succession, it happened. As we kind of alluded to, Rutgers was expected to lose Cliff Omoruyi to the portal, longtime center, and Mawot Mag to the portal. They both entered today, earlier this afternoon. There's a bunch of targets that we think Rutgers will show interest in, or Rutgers is already showing interest in. And we'll get to some other miscellaneous things as well. But first, the presenting sponsor of this podcast is Night and Day Apparel. Calling all Rutgers students, alumni, and fans. Are you looking for new and unique Rutgers merchandise? Night and Day Apparel has you covered. From t-shirts and hoodies to drinkware and pet accessories, Night and Day focuses on providing the Rutgers community with exclusive, one-of-a-kind tailgating products. Be sure to check out the links in today's podcast description to their website and social media so you can stay on top of everything Night and Day, including new merch drops and promotional announcements. Shop now and keep shopping. Additionally, we are sponsored by the Cut app. We have a great new sponsor. It's called the Cut app. I love betting on basically anything with the NCAA tournament going. I'm going to have some bets definitely down on that. Oh, yeah. Cut app is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's legal in 40-plus states. It has customizable odds, tracking capabilities, an entire social network with group chats, user profiles, and rewards. All the payments are made through the app. You don't need Venmo, so it's a one-stop shop. You can use the promo code Believe Rutgers. That's BLEAV Rutgers for a 10% welcome bonus. Don't forget to use that code. Put your money where your mouth is. All right. So we already kind of talked about who left today. Let's start with Mawot Mag. He was expected.
Sorry.
He was expected along with Cliff. And we both understand, and I'm sure most of you understand, how important these two were to us last year and this year. But first, let's kind of talk about, because I don't know if there's a whole lot we can say about what these two are in terms of losses, but let's talk about why, perception-wise, Mawot Mag is getting a lot more heat than Cliff for departing. Just kind of go through all the factors that kind of go into that.
Well, it starts with, I know a lot of people, it's been mentioned on our boards too. People are like, I don't understand why everyone's hating on Mawot. Like, y'all loved him a year ago when he was, your tournament. I guess he kind of left him out of the tournament, got hurt. When he got hurt, the team just went downhill. Now, obviously, a year went by, a lot of things happened. He was cleared for quite some time, I'm told, to resume basketball activities. He did resume basketball activities, but he just wasn't comfortable enough to play the games. Eventually he did come back. He did play I want to say 20 games, maybe less than that, 15,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, something like that. And then it comes out that he's injured again, injured his shin or something, or what was it, calf? I think it was calf. Yeah. From what we've been told, and we've repeated this over and over again, he's just sitting out because people in his corner are telling him to sit out, preserve your health for the portal. Apparently the calf injury was a little injury, and it definitely scared him a little bit because obviously, if you get hurt, who's going to pick me up if I just got hurt 2 seasons in a row with season-ending injuries? Especially when the one was pretty significant that caused you not only to miss half a season, it also caused you to miss another half of the season in this year, which was over 8 months down the line, something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. So he sat out the last couple games because he just didn't want to play anymore. He wanted to preserve himself for health reasons and for the portal. His guys have been telling him hey, we're going to enter the portal. We're going to enter the portal. Just sit these games out. Now, a lot of people were speculating that. I think we confirmed it a couple weeks ago. We put it on the message boards. We've told people over and over again. They obviously don't listen. But I mean, if you're not listening then, you better start listening now because we've known about this for a while. We've posted about it. We talked about it on here. The man just sat. It's just, and I'd be pissed too as if I was a fan. I can't accept one of my best players, my starting 4, just sitting out because it's I'm going to the portal. No, dude, and get off the team. I'm not letting you travel either. Pike is a nice guy, and sometimes he's just too nice. He's a player's coach at the end of the day. He'll do whatever his players ask of him, and that's why guys love him. And that's a big reason why he's able to recruit these guys that he's got coming in next year, because he's just such a down-to-earth guy and builds good relationships with his players. But I can't justify letting this guy stay on the team after pulling that. So Literally, I was told today, like he went into Pike's office for the meeting, like the end of the year meetings they do, and like the news broke like on Twitter immediately after he left the office. Like we're talking like literally walked out the door, and just it was already on the news. Like it's like okay, that's it. Like so he has intentions for a while. It's known, and fans have the right to be pissed.
Yeah, I think there's two additional factors that kind of play into this, which kind of exasperate things. First being, he almost left before this season.
Well,
He
yeah, I
was a
forgot about that
guy
part.
who he had, 1.5 legs out the door, and we were able to keep him for another year. But this is a guy who almost left the portal, or almost entered the portal. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
right before the deadline closed, I believe, and Rutgers
Mm-hmm.
really had to fight and claw to keep him.
Yeah.
And then you could tell just by the way Pike talked about him this year, whether it
Didn't
be
talk
not,
about
well, yeah. So when he would praise all his seniors and he would leave Mawot Mag out,
mm-hmm.
or when he would say, like he did in the Big East or the Big Ten tournament game before it, Mawot practiced. I thought he looked good, but we'll see if he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about, that he was cleared a few times during pressers. He was cleared medically. It was kind of up to Mawot. Like obviously the guy's been through a lot. The special that the Big Ten Network did on him was really touching.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, like you had guys relying on you this year, man. Like they were a team that was, on the outside of the bubble in February, and you kind of let your team down. Like this is a team that could have made it to the NIT if they won a few more games.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell, like a lot of teams turned it down. I don't think Rutgers would have turned it down. But, they could have used a guy like him this year. And last year, yeah, it sucked when we lost him because he was kind of on the ace. His game was ascending. But this past year, like, I feel like in a combination of him taking a step back as an offensive player and him recovering from that injury, he just wasn't the same impact guy we saw last year. So I think it makes sense for both teams to kind of have him move on. And I think the program's probably glad to have the whole situation behind him. Now, where I think it really differs from Cliff's situation is that Cliff took a huge chance on Rutgers as a recruit. He was a top 50 guy in the country. He was really the first guy Peichel ever landed that kind of changed the narrative about what Rutgers could be in terms of a recruiting situation.
Mm-hmm.
So he has that going for him. The second thing is he's been hounded in the portal every year for the last couple years. I want to say the last 3 off seasons, including this one. He's had people through one way or another in his ear about leaving Rutgers and joining another program. And he has turned them down at every turn. Last year, it was really just if he got a good evaluation and he was given guarantees that he was going to get drafted, he would have left. He was only going to the NBA or Rutgers last offseason. And I think the loyalty goes a long way when we're talking about Cliff and just kind of the no drama element of things with Cliff as well. That the Mawot situation just kind of had in spades. So I think that's where the real difference is in my eyes, is that they handled the situations entirely differently. Plus, Cliff, like, he was banged up all year. He fought through it. He led the team in minutes. This is a guy who, for most of the season was dealing with one thing or another, as most guys are. And you could see how much it meant to him playing that last game at the rack, how emotional he got. I think it was pretty obvious that, he wasn't coming back. And let's be honest, like his offensive game hasn't really developed, I think, to anybody's liking. So he might only have one real opportunity to make a ton of money playing basketball in his life, and it might be next year in college. So, and you could kind of say the same thing for Watt. I don't think Watt's going to get anything near what Cliff is going to get, but, Cliff, it's a dual impact thing. Cliff could go to a program that's known for developing centers offensively, improve his game a lot, and get paid a big paycheck, and then possibly, get drafted into the NBA. Maybe that last year development's what he needs. Maybe a different coach that's, speaking to him a different way or teaching him different techniques. But I think it makes a lot of sense for Rutgers and for Cliff to move on as well. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have Cliff back. I just don't think it was ever realistic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's and then the other thing is like he's kind of had his destination picked out, it seemed like, for a couple weeks now. Just another thing though, like we've had this one like on our forum for like a week or so now, like ever since it like started to leak out. Yeah, it does suck a little bit that he's leaving, but like it sounds like he's probably going to end up locally down the street with St. John's. It's not too surprising because we mentioned it before. The NIL director, or I think his title is actually NIL GM for St. John's basketball, Matt, I forget his last name.
Yeah, Matt A.
Yeah, some with an A. He was Cliff's agent. So it's like, it makes almost too much sense. And then Rick Pitino got to see him up close and personal this year. They had that scrimmage or charity game, exhibition game, whatever you want to call it. So he knows he could work with him, or he knows his talent level at least. And it's at the end of the day, they have a shit ton of money. They have the Vitamin Water guy funding their entire program. Whoever the CEO of that company is, co-founder, CEO, whatever he is. But yeah, so it does suck. But it's not the worst thing in the world. The guy gave you 4 really good years, kept playing like Mike just said before. I don't know why I said it like that. That was a weird way to say it. But like you just said before, he's given at Rutgers everything for 4 straight years. He didn't sit out 12 straight games or something like that. He gave it his all. You saw him try everything. He never developed really much of any post game. I guess like it was just dunking most of his points game, but he still ended up finishing 4th in rebounds, 6th in blocks, was it? And like 4th in field goal percentage. And there's a couple other records too, like single season records, but he gave Rutgers his all. He kind of started a little bit of a trend in Rutgers. And he was the first real big name that Pikel got to the banks. So I mean, it was good. It was a good 4 years, but it is what it is. And the nice thing is St. John's isn't in the same conference, so you're not going to have to see a whole lot of him in a different uniform. I mean, you might because New York area, and they're going to pick up if they're playing well and all that stuff. But you're not going to have to play against them for the most part. So that's the nice part. And you get to see him probably shit on St. John or Seton Hall again. So it's always a good thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that he left, but I do think, it opens an opportunity for Rutgers to really improve offensively on the interior, depending on who they're able to land in the portal, which we can kind of transition now into. We have a list of a few guys that, based on what we're hearing, either have entered the portal or will in the short term, that have Rutgers connections or local connections that we think make a lot of sense. Let's first start off with Troy D'Amico. So he's a guy who is he's currently on, or last year he was on Southern Illinois. He entered the portal. He's a 6'7", 210-pound, I guess you'd call him like a big wing. This past season for Southern Illinois, he averaged 9.3 points a game, 3.7 rebounds a game, and 2.8 assists a game. He's a career 37% three-point shooter. He's a career 79% free throw shooter, so he's a pretty good shooter overall. Tell us about this kid and kind of the connection Rutgers has to him.
So Troy D'Amico, he's the one that played on Mean Streets, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he played on the Mean Streets AAU program, same program as Jeremiah Williams, also in both Illinois guys. Side note, I think Southern Illinois is the school that Jerry Kill is from. A little Rutgers connection there, kind of. But yeah, D'Amico's game's interesting. Most of his shots are at the rim, it seems like. I think I was reading 32% of his field goal attempts are at the rim, and he hits them at 58%, which, hey, look at that. You can hit a layup. Mm-hmm. That's a huge upgrade from what they had this past season. He also has a pretty good field goal percentage, too. I know his effective was well over 50, but I think he shot I just had it pulled up, damn it. What was it, 40-something? Troy D'Amico, yeah. 42.5 field goal percentage, 36.4 three-point percentage, 87 free throws. So the free throws are great. He doesn't do anything super phenomenal, I guess. But I think he'd be a solid bench player, role player off the bench for sure. Average 9 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He has pretty good vision. I know his 3-point percentage is kind of a little lower than what you like at 36, but still, that would be probably what
that would have easily led Rutgers this past year. That's not a bad percentage.
Yeah. And he's actually, like, I'm watching his shot. It's a little quirky, I guess is the word. It's so weird to watch his shot because he releases halfway through his form, but he hits them. So it's he's hitting 39% at the top elbow, at the other 36% at the other elbow. He's pretty decent at top of the key. Yeah, no, I'm saying that right. On the wing, sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, I think he's an interesting kid. I would definitely reach out and see how much interest, or they did reach out, I should say. I'd be curious to see where he ends up.
Yeah. And before people say like, oh, he plays for Southern Illinois, like who are they? Blah blah blah. There's so many examples of mid-major guys jumping a level and performing at the same level, the Big Ten level. Let's take two of his teammates from last year. Lance Jones, the guard, who's now with Purdue, who's one of their best defensive players. And on Illinois, Marcus Domask. He is, this. I think he's the leading scorer in Illinois this year, if not the leading scorer, the second leading scorer. He's averaging 16 points a game after spending 4 years at Southern Illinois. So, yeah, he's the second leading scorer behind only Terrence Shannon. So, there's plenty of guys at the lower level who just need the opportunity to show what they can do at the Big Ten level. And that's not to say that, this Troy DeMuco is going to come to Rutgers and average 15 points a game. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there's no reason he can't play at this level just because he played at a lower level previously.
So, for example, some of his better games this year have come against the better opponents. Against Drake, who's in the tournament behind you, 12, 4, and 6, along with, what is that, 2 blocks? Yeah. Indiana State, who was just on the bubble and got eliminated.
They should have made the tournament, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got screwed a little bit. 15, 4, 1, and 1. And then James Madison, who's also in the tournament, who I actually have an upset in the first round against Wisconsin, just saying. 12, 5, 6, and 2. These are some pretty good stat lines. He's also scored 20 points in the game against St. Louis. He's not a bad player by any means. So before everyone gets all pissy and they're like, Southern Illinois, what the hell? What are we doing? We replaced Mawot Mag with this kid, and it's honestly, this kid's a better offensive player than Mawot Mag, and that's what they want. They want offense. This is the worst offense in Power 5, high major, whatever you want to call it, last year, by far. It was an ugly offense for Rutgers, and they need to improve that. Yes, adding Dylan and Ace is going to help a ton, but adding this kid would also help you as well.
Yeah, for sure. So stay tuned for that name. And it's also so early. I know that the staff is just finished conducting their exit interviews, and I know they are doing a ton of research into guys and doing some background checks and just doing homework on players, but they will be reaching out to a ton of players this week.
Mm-hmm. There's 60-plus teams that still haven't had a guy enter yet, technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. The next guy I think would make a ton of sense to reach out to is Aaron Bradshaw. He's a guy who is at Kentucky right now. He is allegedly going to transfer. He hasn't actually entered yet. Kentucky still has to play in the NCAA tournament. But this is a guy who saw his numbers drop off precipitously throughout the year. He's only played in a handful of games in the last 10 for Kentucky. He's a guy who doesn't seem like he's really enjoying himself very much. He's listed at 7'1", 226 pounds. He's a very good offensive player, but he just hasn't really had the chance to showcase that at Kentucky this year. What are you hearing about Aaron Bradshaw?
There's a good chance he ends up entering the portal. This was the number 2 overall recruit in the country. A year ago? Yeah. So
yep.
He ended up surpassing his teammate DJ Wagner, who everyone thought was actually better, and invites blah blah blah. But no, he's a really good prospect. I think you'd be crazy not to take him. He's just really good offensive skill set. He can run up and down the floor. He's very athletic. His numbers aren't great. Yeah, he's not doing a lot right now, but he still has his moments. If you watch the Florida game, I think it was, he had some pretty good numbers. He's even though his numbers are down and he's only averaging 5 points per game, he's hit double digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different times. I know his best games against Penn, who it's whatever, Ivy League, but he also had 15 against Arkansas. He had 12 against North Carolina. These are good teams he's performing against. Hey, Mississippi State, who Rutgers struggled against, 11-6. That's and 2 blocks and 2 steals. He's a really, really good prospect, and I don't know what is going on with him and Calipari, but it just seems like it's not working together for some reason, which it is what it is. This could be Rutgers' benefit, though.
Yeah, and just to be clear, he is a New Jersey kid. He played at Camden High School. He originally attended Roselle Catholic, but he transferred to Camden after his freshman year. Mm-hmm. So this is a New Jersey kid who Rutgers has a need at center. He's a New Jersey guy. Michael has to at least reach out to him, and he's really good. At that Don Bosco Camden game last year, I thought Aaron Bradshaw was outside of Dylan. He was the best guy on the court. Like he just had such a high level of skill for a guy his size. Mm-hmm. So, and obviously him and Dylan have played against each other. So at the very least they know each other or know of each other. So that going for him. Not saying that Rutgers would, potentially land him, but he's definitely got to be a kid you reach out to when he enters the portal.
Yeah. Newark, born in Newark, but grew up in Rahway too. So it's not like it's far away. Like it's not like it's South Jersey, North Jersey. It's like dead central. Like it's right next to down the street from Rutgers almost. But yeah, no, I think you have to reach out to this kid. He's too good now too.
Yep, for sure. Next up, this is a name. This is probably my number. This would be my number one target for a big man this class. He's rumored to be entering the portal shortly. His name's Yaxel Lendenborg. He is the big man from UAB. He's listed at 6'9", 230. He's originally from Pennsauken, New Jersey. Went to Pennsauken High School. Mm-hmm. Out of high school, he went to JUCO. So he spent 2 years at Arizona Western Junior College. He was a two-time JUCO All-American there. He got second team honors in 2022-23 and third team in 21-22. In his first year playing for UAB, he's averaging 14 points a game, 11 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, shooting 52% from the field, 33% from three. He's an 80% free throw shooter. He's averaging 2 blocks a game, almost a steal a game. This guy is the real deal. And anybody who wants to watch him play, UAB won the AAC tournament, and they'll be playing on Friday at 3:45 against San Diego State. This is a kid who would be like one of the best players in the portal, and obviously the New Jersey connections. He previously was a St. John's commitment, but when they got the new staff, St. John's dropped him, and so he kind of had to scramble at the last minute to find a new spot. And Andy Kennedy at UAB scooped him up, and he's basically led UAB single-handedly to an NCAA tournament berth this year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at number one, look at his offer list. So I got a JUCO. Like it's pretty damn good. Like I know St. John's obviously, because he was committed there, but Xavier, Tulsa, FIU, Houston, who's like a number 1 seed, number 2 seed in the tournament right now. Cincinnati's pretty good. Memphis, who just missed the cut. He's a really good player. He was a former top 10 JUCO kid just a year ago. And his sophomore season at JUCO before this season, don't get me wrong, his numbers are great at the high major level, but at JUCO, defensive player of the year for starters for the AAC, whatever the hell it is, some weird JUCO conference, averaged 17 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, while shooting 72%. Shot 44 from 3. I don't even know why this kid was number 9 nationally in JUCO rankings. Like, he should have been higher. Everything says he's just a really, really good player. And being the fact that he's a Jersey guy, I think they have a pretty damn good shot.
Yeah, and this is a guy who will allegedly be entering after the NCAA tournament concludes, or as soon as his team is bounced.
So root for San Diego State on Friday.
Yeah, with the connections with being a New Jersey guy and being a standout big, Rutgers has no bigger need right now than at the big man position.
Yep.
Which we can kind of get into a little bit further in a bit. But another guy that makes too much sense not to reach out to at least is Jalen Leach. He is a 6'4", 200-pound guard out of Fairfield. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. There's rumors that Jay Young will be rejoining the staff next year. Mm-hmm. He's already been on campus since he was let go as the Fairfield coach. Jalen Leach, he had his best season as a college athlete this past year. He averaged 16 points a game on 49% shooting from the field, 35% from three, 89.5% free throw shooter. He averaged 4 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and almost 2 steals a game. This is a kid that would make a lot of sense coming in as your third guard on this team.
Yeah. I think I said it off the pod, but I'll say it on the pod too. It does sound like they're probably not going to pursue a 3-man. I know everyone's like, we need a wing. Not really, because it sounds like Ace is probably going to play the 3. And if Ace doesn't play the 3, you're going to see more 3-guard lineups that Pikel loves. He's done it this year with Jeremiah, Derek, and Jamichael at points. So I think and it's pretty obvious, like they're pursuing a ton of guards. There's been 3 guards, I think, 4 guards already that have Rutgers' interest. But yeah, so I mean, I think they're just going to add a guard. They're going to add a 5, and they're going to add a 4, maybe another 4, because you don't really have a backup 4 that's not a freshman. But no, I think this kid Leach is damn good. Plus, with like you said, with the Jay Young thing, it makes almost too much sense. Like, it's going to be great to have Jay Young back.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a done deal, but it sounds like a
good chance.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance he comes back, but I don't think that it's by any means for sure going to happen either. But so that's another name. The final one we have on our list here is Tyler Cochran from Toledo. This is a 6'2", 225-pound guard. He's entering the portal. He's entering his 4th program in 6 years. He started off at Northern Illinois, then he transferred to Ball State, and he's spent the last 2 years at Toledo. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. This past year, he scored 14 points a game on 50% shooting from the field, 6 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, and almost 2 steals a game. He's a career 34% three-point shooter and a career 68% free throw shooter. This one, it seems like, is a Jeremiah Williams connection as well. Looks like they kind of played each other in AAU. But what are you hearing about Tyler Cochran?
Yeah, he's an interesting player. Did you? I was dozed off for a sec. Did you mention that he was co-defensive player of the year or whatever, co-conference player of the year or something like that?
Cochran?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah, I think he was what is Toledo, the MAC? I think he was
Yeah, the MAC. Yep.
Yeah, co-MAC defensive player of the year. So another one that kind of just makes a lot of sense. He's an Illinois guy through and through, just like Jeremiah. Jeremiah quote tweeted him and put the dog emoji after he tweeted that he was entering the portal. So it makes a lot of sense. He's a really good scorer, as you could tell based on the stats alone. Another guy that shoots like near 60% at the rim, something that's unheard of at Rutgers this year. But yeah, no, he's just a really good player. I'd be shocked if this isn't a guy that at least just gauge some interest. Now, like you said, he did bounce around a lot, which is fine. It is what it is. That's just the name of the game nowadays. But yeah, he's okay from the 3-point line, but I think he should. Yeah, it's not that good, but he's a really good passer. I'm watching like tape on him right now. His vision's really good too. This could be a really sneaky good get, and you're going to need buckets. I know end of the day, like people are like, well, where's the defense going to come? Because Mag's not here anymore. Jeremiah Williams was a damn good defender at Temple. He's a damn good defender this year. Jamichael Davis has stepped up his defense. He's actually one of the better defenders on the team. Ace is a pretty good defender in his own right, uses that length. Dylan's a pretty decent defender. They'll be fine. And also, let's just be honest, the name of the game is offense nowadays. Yeah. You're going to watch this tournament this weekend, everyone is offense. It's offense, offense, offense. There was a Dan Hurley article that popped up the other day. I think it was yesterday or today on Fox Sports, and it was all about how he changed his mindset on the game. It used to be rock fight. Let's win this rock fight. And he's like, it's so much better now I'm not in rock fights because I've changed my mindset on how to coach, basically. It's all about offense. It's all about taking as many threes and shots as possible. Mind you could do that, but you can't be Rutgers either, where you're taking these shots and just missing them all. So it's going to be interesting, but they definitely want some more scoring, and that's pretty obvious so far based on who they've reached out to, and I think this kid kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, it would make sense. He's not my favorite of the targets. I think if I had to kind of pick and choose my favorites so far, based on connecting dots, it would be Chris Mannon, the Cornell kid. It would be Yaxel Lindenborg. It would be Aaron Bradshaw. And those would kind of be my top 3. We'll see if they actually happen. You have to kind of lean not, because that's just how it works in the portal. It's kind of a scattershot thing. You kind of have to talk to a lot of people and figure out who's actually interested, who would be a fit. And I think Pikel knows how important it is to find not only the right fit, but to find guys who their game fits as much as their personality. I think they took a lot of personality fits in the past, more over game fits. I think you have to prioritize the player over the person, in my opinion, going into the next year. But
yeah, for sure. It's too important of a year. This could be the start of. I'm not going to say dynasty, but it could be the start of a hell of a different Rutgers program than people are used to. This won't be the one that makes the tournament twice out of like 5 years. This could be a team that's in the tournament talk every single year, top 25 every single year, playing for national championships eventually. Like this next season is so important to Rutgers basketball. I don't want to say it's make or break, but like this might be your only opportunity ever to make some serious noise. And it could continue down the road if they do end up doing that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge, monumental flagpole, inflection point of a season for Rutgers basketball as a program and Steve Pikiel's career here. So they need to kind of get everything right. Is there anybody else that you wanted to talk about before we head out for today?
I don't think there's anyone else. I'm looking now. So technically there's 3 spots open now on the roster. Also, I forgot about it. We hit the 5 mark. Called it. Pat myself on the back there. It's 5 transfer portal guys, right?
Oh,
Isn't it 5 transfer portal dudes? Yeah, I'm just saying. Interesting.
We did, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's 3 open spots. We're being told they're going to get a 4th open spot. You can kind of take a guess at where that one's coming from. Not going to be a portal guy. They're done with the portal for the roster, supposedly. Obviously, things can change based on graduations, but I don't know if anyone's graduating. The only one that might would be Jeremiah, but he already said he's coming back. So Jeremiah Williams is coming back, Gavin Griffith's coming back, Jermichael Davis is coming back. It's those 3. Emmanuel Ogbo is likely to return. Do the math there. You can kind of figure out who's probably not returning from what we're told. So they're going to have 4 spots open. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see where they go and who they go after, who they target. But yeah, that's really it for basketball.
Yeah, it'll be a fun off season, but it's kind of just beginning. This is kind of clearing the deck for moves to be made. So I think the real exciting stuff is going to be coming in the weeks to follow, because they want to have their roster set by the time the first portal window closes. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the roster was figured out by the time the football spring game comes, and then we kind of have to just wait until September, October, when those practices open up for the basketball program. Or actually, they have open practices not open to the public, but for the to the media in the summertime, right?
Yep. Side note, speaking of which, I was told Ace Bailey graduates like May 10th or 12th or something like that, and he'll be arriving at Rutgers early as hell. We're talking like May 28th, I was told. Wow. Is the date. So he wants to get there. People that are all worried about chemistry this and chemistry that. This man's trying to build it. He's trying to build the chemistry ASAP. Like, he's ready to go. And I'm sure Dylan's going to be walking down the street to Rutgers all the time if Ace is there. And they're going to be – it's going to be so much fun this offseason. I'm a little giddy, a little excited for this team. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I'm already told that, like, several photographers, videographers, like random Instagram accounts are just trying to apply for passes for next year already. It's going to be fun. But in the meantime, the tournament did start technically. But our bracket pool is still open to everyone that's joined already. Awesome. Thank you. You have like 125 people so far. If you guys want to join, there's several Rutgers prizes, including a free jersey, including a Dylan Harper trading card, Night and Day apparel. Shout out again to Night and Day. They're our title sponsor, and they've just been great. And what else? Oh, and free rivals. If you're not on Rivals yet on the night report, you're missing out. There's a whole message board going nuts. There's an apology thread to me because people didn't believe me about the mag stuff. But yeah, it's great. No promo right now. Actually, we have a 30-day promo. TKR30. Use that. You get a free month. You don't like it? Cancel. Simple as that. But you're going to be suckered in, and it's very addicting once you're on this site, as multiple people can probably tell you.
Yeah. Additionally, we did get one person claim the $50 gift card from Home Field. The other one has not yet. So if you are one of the winners, I think Sack Attack 77 claimed theirs, but the other person has not. I don't remember your name, so I'm sorry. If you watched the end of last episode, you'll get the names. But if you do not contact us by next Monday, we will be rerunning that contest once more. So
yeah.
that's all we got today, guys.
That's all I got.
We want to appreciate you. We wanted to say we appreciate you guys joining. But for me and Richie, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.